It's time for Peachy's PIF review.
Hello PIF watchers, it's Peachy here. This next episode was requested by Mike Farris, so thank you Mike, and it's going to be centred around anti-drug PIFs. And before I start, look what I found, it's got my real name on and everything. Yay! Oh, and I don't know if you noticed my nails. I did them in the style of Minions from Despicable Me 2. Let's get ready to rumble. Returning to the classic format of PIF review, I'll give you 4 categories as always: the classic, the game changer, the nightmare fuel and the vintage clip. So, to start, we have the classic. This one's by the UK organisation Frank, or Talk to Frank as it's sometimes referred to, and it is called The Brain Warehouse.
Welcome to the Brain Warehouse. We provide new brains, cure any ill effects, tetanus,
You a puker? Hey? You know about the new spew stopper?
No, I'm alright, mate.
does not reduces paranoia in 95% of all cannabis users. And the no-ball...
The freak-out free X50. You know, back in the old days, before these came out, you lost it on weed and phew, that was it. Imagine that. You want it installed?
With stronger strains than ever before, the more you mess with cannabis, the more it could mess with your mind. If you'd like to find out more, talk to Frank.
God damn it, that actor does have one of the creepiest faces I've ever seen. No offence to the guy, but that smile he does at the end's almost worthy of a nightmare fuel clip alone. But no, back in the olden days of my early teens, I remember this one being on the television all the time. And I think it got the point across pretty well, actually. The idea behind the advert is that medical research often dictates that there's a link between mental illness and prolonged drug use. Obviously, mental illness isn't exclusive to drug users, and coming from personal experience of mental illness, given the horrible things they do to people, it's almost bittersweet that in today's world you can't exchange your brain. Which leads into the main message of the advert, that a place like this doesn't exist, and isn't likely to exist anytime soon, and you can't change what damage you voluntarily cause your brain through drugs. I think if the Brain Warehouse did one day exist, I'd politely suggest to them not to hire that man as a shop assistant. Makes you wonder how the Brain Warehouse actually sold any brains with a bloody shop assistant like that. Well, the scare factor for this, I'd give this one a 6 out of 10, and it's mostly due to that smile. Which leads us on to the game changer. This one is from Scotland, and it is from the Health Education Board for Scotland, also known as HEBS. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, HEBS or HEBS. But this one is called Split Screen.
How about we took?
What, heroin?
Aye, smack. You're only smoking it.
Superb, your pride and joy, is it? 20 quid.
Any off you?
Just off the sports centre.
What do you think you're doing?
I wasn't stealing!
That's exactly what you're doing. Stuart, where are you going?
Any spare change, pal?
As dated and 90s-ish as it is, you have to admit that that was pretty damn clever. The storytelling in this advert is pretty much a work of art, I think. It shows on one side the boy choosing heroin, and spiralling down into a circle of getting fixes, stealing and selling off everything that he has just to get the next fix, whereas on the other side, himself having not chosen the heroin, leads a happy, normal and sporty life. Then comes the kicker, which I think makes this truly worthy of the Game Changer title, is the merging of the split screens and the alternate choice timelines together, and it shows both of the timelines occurring simultaneously. Mind-bending, isn't it? Kind of reminds me of a Montana meth advert where a young boy is sitting in the laundromat and some meth head kid comes into the laundromat and tries to rob it for drug money, and then he waltzes over to the guy, and it turns out the meth head is actually the normal kid sitting in the laundromat but on drugs. It's weird, I know. I'll pop a link to it right there so you can watch that one just for comparison's sake. I think the soundtrack in this one's quite scary too if you listen to it, just adding that one in. For a scare factor, I'd give this one a 3 out of 10, probably for the soundtrack alone. It's not really scary, it's just very well played out, and it gives you a good insight into how drugs can make dramatic changes to your lifestyle. It's that time again, it's Nightmare Field time, PIF watchers, and here's the one you all know and love for scaring the shit out of you. And we're going international for this clip, all the way over to the other side of the world to New Zealand, for one of the most graphic PIFs I have ever seen in my life, and that is saying something. So if you don't really like gore and stuff, you might want to just skip to the vintage clip right now. And this one is for KNZ, and because I don't really know what the title is, I'm just going to go for one simple word that gives you a hint, and that would be brain. Ugh, it's enough to make you lose your dinner, isn't it? The whole gore element combined with the god-awful screechy soundtrack makes it actually look and sound like something from a drug trip. Oh, the irony. The advert sort of implies that with every time you use drugs, kind of similar to the Brain Warehouse message but employed in a completely different way, it makes the Brain Warehouse advert look like a bloody kid's cartoon next to this, that you lose a part of your brain that you can never recover. Watching this, I don't know about you, but it actually made my head hurt a little bit. I mean, look at that. Blech. Stupid scary PIFs giving me phantom pain. Last time I felt like this was watching that bloody fireworks safety one where the guy's fingers get blown off. Awful. Well, keeping it short and sweet, for scare factor this one gets a 9. Do I even need to explain why? Yeah, well after that I think we need a bit of lightheartedness from the vintage clip, which I will provide you. I'm not that sadistic. So we're going to have a sing-along for this one, for another international PIF, and this time it's a rather jovial take on, I don't know, it kind of promotes drug use, I think. So, all together now. Drugs, drugs, drugs.
Listen up, mistress, and you too, sisters. Let's talk about something that's a real brain twister. Drugs, drugs, drugs. We are good, we are bad. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Ask your mom or ask your dad. Drink a little water. Take the doctor's pill. Drugs can make you better when you're feeling ill. Drugs, drugs, drugs. We are good, we are bad. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Ask your mom or ask your dad. There's lots of other drugs that sure have a flaw. Watch it now, man. It's trouble with the law. Drugs, drugs, drugs. We are good, we are bad. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Ask your mom or ask your dad. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Which are good, which are bad. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Ask your mom or ask your dad.
Isn't it brilliant? Complete with the 80s style pseudo-rock soundtrack, along with a power metal, yeah! This one kind of opens up the debate about prescribed pharmacy drugs versus illegal drugs, because apparently the only thing wrong with illegal drugs is they can get you in trouble with the law. But yeah, there's the whole debate about which one's safer, illegal drugs or prescribed drugs, given that a lot of people do die from overdoses of prescription drugs. Then again, I've never seen someone rob a petrol station just to meet their NHS prescription charges, even if prescriptions are freaking expensive nowadays. At least we in the UK can enjoy the NHS's benefits. I'm sure prescription medications are a shitload more expensive over there. Either way, this PIF almost advertises drugs to you. And not to mention, when I was browsing YouTube for this, one of the top comments said that the Ask Your Mom or Ask Your Dad sounded like Astro Mom and Astro Dad. Oh dear. I wonder what the creators of this PIF were smoking when they thought this was a good idea. Look at that dad, look at his moustache. Impressive. Scare factor? What scare factor? This one gets a big fat 0. So, That's all for episode 6 of PIF Review, and my next episode is going to be a spotlight on the best of the 80s PIFs from the UK, followed by one on anti-bullying adverts. Stay safe, don't mess with drugs, and I'll see you in episode 7.